Once you understand that 99% of people will never change their lives, they are absolutely trapped. They cannot change their lives no matter what. And once you understand this metaphor, that your behavior is like this stick, you see, the more you change your behavior at this end, right over here on my right, the more everything changes. You see, the slower I move it and the smaller change I have in my behavior, the bigger the everything is, every segment of this pole. But imagine it being 10,000 kilometers long, and your behavior is just the first centimeters. Any change in degree in that behavior changes tremendously at the end of the pole. But you can never change from the other end backwards. It is so hard to go down the pole. It requires so much force. And that's what they don't understand. That's why it's so hard to change, because it is worse than having an addiction and getting rid of it. You have to understand that when you're having an addiction, most addictions are bad and you have overwhelming evidence to change. And yet people have a hard time getting out of those behaviors. And you have to understand that once you realize that all of your behaviors, all of your beliefs are nothing but addictions that are many, many times harder to get rid of because you do not have the overwhelming evidence to actually support other beliefs and other behaviors. You have to understand that beliefs are changed by three things, and in turn, behavior, because actually, behavior is beliefs. You have to understand that once you look at behaviors in this way, you will never be able to look back. Behavior dictates what experiences you get. So, whatever behavior you have, that is the experience that you get. And based on the responses and the experience that you get from the world, you form beliefs. So you have to understand that the behavior is just the 1 centimeter of that 10-kilometer pole. And then the next 5 kilometers is experience. And the next 2 are beliefs. And the end is ideas and just thinking and thoughts and all of these things that people think that actually make a difference. No, the things that you are thinking, your ideas, even your beliefs, have nothing to do with the degree of change that you can have in your life. And that's the problem. People don't understand that first centimeter is where all of the change, all of the meaningful change can be made. If you have change over there at a behavioral level, you change your core self. You change everything. Your quality of thinking, your ideas, your speech patterns, the way you move, the way you believe things. All of your beliefs change drastically. You have to understand that 1 centimeter change just at the 1 centimeter behavior, that small little change creates this overwhelming change above it. 10 kilometers away, it just changes everything. But you see, going the other way from ideas to beliefs to experience and then to behavior, it's almost impossible. You have to understand that you cannot hold in your brain a belief that has no experience to back it up. It is impossible to hold any belief that you do not have experience for. That's why it's such a big trap to go from the thinking level, from the idea level, down into the beliefs and down still into the experience and then into the behavior. It is such a trap. And everyone who tells you that you have to think a certain way, that you have to have better ideas, that you have to change your knowledge, it's just bullshit. You have to understand that the transfer of knowledge is flawed because you can only hold beliefs that you have experience for. So, in other words, you can only have those ideas and those beliefs that you can already hold by yourself. No one can give you, even if they have the best belief in the world to have in order to have success or change your life, you cannot hold it. You cannot even take advantage of it, no matter how hard they try to convince you. No matter how hard they try to tell you something, you might be able to comprehend it. But in order to actually hold that belief, it has to manifest in your life at a behavioral level. I stumble my words because I hate the word manifesting. But the point is, once you understand this idea, you will do nothing with it. Because as I said, even if you agree with everything that I say, you will never get to change your behavior. Because in order to change your behavior, you have to overwhelm your mind, that part of your mind that's doing the thinking, the analyzing, the judging, everything. You have to overwhelm it to the point that you force it to change. You force it to change its behavior. You force yourself to change. And that takes thousands of repetitions. That's why 99.9% of people will never change. Will never change. They will be different, but it will not be by choice. A change requires choice, requires you doing and going in a certain direction with such unstoppable momentum that you actually overwhelm your mind into doing what you wanted to do, into changing completely so that you can have better outcomes forever with no more effort. That's the point. When you have a change, a fundamental change at a behavioral level, you have results without effort because you do not need effort in order to do those things that you have changed. That's what it means to go into the thousands of repetitions. You can now do things that were absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. You will feel like you have superpowers. But I have to remind you, 99% of people will never experience this. They will never experience this. They will never have real fundamental change in their core identity. They will just live and be a little bit different, just evolve a little bit into a direction that was kind of predestined. They went there because of trauma, because of circumstance. They never went to the third step. You see, it's easy to change because of trauma, because you have overwhelming evidence that you should avoid that thing. It's easy to change because of circumstance, either positive or negative. Maybe you were addicted to a very bad substance. Or maybe you were, I don't know, you had the best experience of your life, your newborn child, and that changed you forever, fundamentally changed you at a core level. And those are the things that are super easy to access. You have to understand that most people change because of these two things. And that is more than 99% of people. You have to understand that if you want to have real choice in your change, you don't have to go that route. You actually have to go through all of these repetitions. You have to do thousands of repetitions towards the thing that you want to change. And once you taste this type of change, you will understand that you can move mountains. You will understand it, and it will feel, if you do it fast enough, you can do thousands of repetitions in months, less than months, in a month. You have to understand that once you do, you will feel like you have superpowers. You absolutely will feel like you have changed so much from a month ago or 6 months ago or a year ago when you started this experiment. You will feel like you have found an entirely new superpower. And you will be absolutely addicted to trying this on everything. And that is why certain people who actually do this have a meteoric rise to the top. They just absolutely will not stop winning. Those are the people who actually go and realize that in order to have a real deep identity level change, it takes thousands of repetitions. You don't even realize what that means. You can't even count to 1,000, to thousands. Look at anyone and tell me that they are not a product. Anyone that you admire, all of these 0.01% of people that you admire, and tell me that they are not a product of thousands of repetitions. That's the only difference between you and someone who you admire.